tip.
Good afternoon. It is September 25th, 2019. You're listening to a Little Column A, a Little Column B, hosted by Will Lemanos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What's going on, Will? We are getting deeper and deeper into football season every day. This week was a good one for me. Undefeated in fantasy football. The Patriots laid a beatdown on the Jets, which is always fun. Defense still hasn't let up a touchdown. Also good news. Is there really another better way to start off the week on a Monday than just fantasy team does well, real team does well? It just jumpstarts you right into the week way better.
Is this the best time of the year? Is this it right now? Like, do you need to just embrace this, that it's only going to get worse from here?
No. This is definitely good, but it's not the best time of the year. You know, it's, I don't know if you've noticed, and I don't want to say it too loudly, but media day for the NBA starts on Monday. By the next time we have a podcast, there'll be like, I'm not going to go as far as say actual NBA news, but there'll be a bunch of kind of fake NBA news. We're going to find out a whole bunch of guys lost either lost weight or they gained weight, and it's pure muscle. All the stuff that they did on the off season. So, it's not that far away from, basketball and football at the same time. But right now I'm fine with just the football. I can focus on that.
Well, football has been, you know what? I feel like we look forward to the season so much throughout the year, and the expectations are so high that once all these quarterbacks get injured, like I know we talked a lot about this last week, there's a lot of bad teams out there right now. And I don't want to get into like every single one of them. I mean, just watching the Jets it's just a struggle. And it doesn't seem like we're playing on the same level playing field at all right now. Like how is there this much like variety of teams right now? I really can't tell. I mean, here I got a list of let's do the 3-0 teams right now. So I got a list of all the teams that are 3-0 right now. And some of these make sense and some of these I'm scratching my head on, but the one thing with the NFL is year to year people shift, there's teams that was it like 50% of the teams that make the playoffs don't make it next year or something like that. There's definitely some good parity in there.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's exactly that stat, but there's a certain percentage that every time I hear it, it's always like, really?
And it really, you never know which team is going to be, but it never fails. Like that always does happen. There's always a team obviously that gets in and gets out, and then you have your some dynasties in some certain divisions, such as the New England Patriots. It's that's a rarity that a division struggles that much and that is dominated by one team. But here are the teams that are 3-0 right now. The Patriots are 3-0. The Bills are 3-0. The Chiefs are 3-0. Cowboys, Rams, 49ers, and Packers. Are you buying in on which teams are you buying in on and which teams are you selling?
Let's just go through it one by one.
All right, well, let's go AFC first. So Patriots, I assume you're going to be all in on that. We do have some injuries right now. What level of concern on losing Edelman?
What are you talking about? Edelman came back to practice today.
You're for sure he's going to be good to go?
He's a little banged up. He's a tank. He's gonna be fine, even if he's not back 100% this week. I'm okay with Edelman. He'll be okay going forward. But we did lose our fullback,
Devlin.
Devlin. He's done for the year. But so far, little nicks and scrapes right now, but no concern with injuries so far.
Hey, Josh Gordon's starting to look better and better every week. All right, he looks strong, he looks fit, he looks great. Let's start working Josh a little bit more. I will also buy in on the Patriots. Moving on to the division, who I just trashed within the same division, the Bills are 3-0. Are you going to be breaking some tables this weekend? What are you buying in on the? You buying the Bills as being real?
Well, just before we get into that, what a weird pregame tailgate thing to just it's just been adopted as your thing. I don't know who else they were competing with, and every once in a while you kind of see somewhere else does it, and it's always I say it's a fail, but I think the whole kind of thing is not good. I don't know how there's just not more of a follow-up on these of 16 Bills fans were at the hospital this week. It was 20 last week, so we're headed in the right direction. Because you're just going through a table, and it's some pro wrestling kind of stuff, but it's just from these just drunk guys. And I'm just surprised that there's not more follow-up or more security or like just by the Bills of going out and just like if you do this, you will be banned forever. We can't have this as our thing. Our thing has to be something else.
What I want to know if they're buying these tables wholesale or not, because I don't think these are just cheap foldable tables. I think these, as far as I remember, these cost money.
If you, I mean, they're not like
All right, they're not
wooden tables or anything. They're just the regular. I think I don't remember if it was last year or the year before when they were going to play Jacksonville in the playoffs, and Jacksonville was like so concerned, like the whole town and like the town surrounding couldn't sell tables because they were concerned about what the Bills fans from out of town were going to do. You had to like fly into Atlanta and buy some tables there and then drive the rest of the way.
There's no other teams and no other fans like that. I don't think you can convince other teams. Hey, like you want to be relevant, you got to break some tables. I don't know if other teams would be willing to do that or even think to do something like that. But with all that being said, a lot of table breaking going on in Buffalo. Are you in on them or are you out?
Back to focus. I'm out on the Bills. Barely beat the Jets. It was at the Jets, but looking like the Jets aren't too good. They beat the Giants with Eli, which don't look so good, and they beat the Bengals, and the Bengals don't look so good. So
yeah, there's some rough teams there, but they do still play the Jets again, and they do play Miami again. This division is very soft.
They'll play Miami two. They'll play Miami two more times. But they got the Patriots this week, and that'll definitely really set the bar on where their season's at.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll definitely be able to judge them this Sunday on a little bit better of a scale once we see them play someone else. But shout out to Frank Gore. Frank Gore, man, guy that won't quit, guy that will not retire. I think he looks like he's going to outlast Brady, man. I don't know how he's going to do it.
I was just about to say, yeah, who lasts longer, Gore or Brady?
He looked great. I don't know if he could do this for an entire season, but clearly a roster member worthy. Like he should not just be a waiver kind of guy. Roster worthy in fantasy and in the NFL. So shout out to Buffalo for having a good couple of successful weeks here. I don't know where it goes from here. I actually think they're going to be all right. I think they're going to be fine. Like I said, they're going to still play the Jets again. They got the 2 games on Miami. I think Buffalo may surprise a couple teams on just being young and healthy. There's a lot of teams right now that are a little bit older and a lot more banged up that may not be able to do what the Bills are able to do. So I'm actually kind of in on them. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but 8-8 seems.
Oh no, see, no, you can't, because I would be more lukewarm. But you got to be in or you got to be out.
I'm more in than I'm out though. All right.
All right.
I think 8-8 would be.
There was some sort of middle ground, but I thought that was a cop out. If I was like, well, it's kind of somewhere in the middle right now. I thought the game was in or out.
Well, I think we both know that
and
these
if you
are
don't make
immediate.
The playoffs, then I'd say you're out on them.
I think we both know that we're 3 weeks in that this is an immediate overreaction regardless. So I think lukewarm is fair. Right? We're only 3 games in. I don't think there's any reason to be all in on somebody. Unless you're the Chiefs, of which we will talk about next. Patrick Mahomes looks. I can't even see enough nice things about this guy. The comfort level, and the kind of the professionalism of just. He's too comfortable out there. I need someone to he doesn't take enough hits. I don't know what it is. He just looks so comfortable out there and is able to do whatever he wants. He's got the ball on a string. He's slinging it everywhere. I couldn't say enough good things about this guy. The rest of the team, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of doing Brady things right now where he's creating nameable wide receivers. Like these guys may be no names on any other team, but because they're playing with Patrick Mahomes, we're going to start to know these Hardman names. How are you feeling about the Chiefs? You getting a little fearful as a Patriot fan?
We don't play them till December, and usually by December we are pretty good. So that's a ways down the line for both of us. It's a couple of months away. So we'll worry about that when we get there. But definitely in on the Chiefs. They definitely look good. I think they're going to continue to roll.
They're going to put up a lot of points. They're going to put up so many points. I think that's going to make them almost like must watch every Sunday. If you're not already tuning in, you should probably go watch one of these guys' games. Go watch the Chiefs play. Lots of points being scored. Mahomes doing a lot of crazy things. But those are all the 3-0 teams in the AFC. We'll quickly go through some of the NFC teams right now. Dallas is also 3-0. I know going in with you have all the Ezekiel Elliott question marks. Is he in? Is he out? He's finally in. Do they have enough time to figure it all out? Are they even that good with him? So far, so good. I'm actually not going to buy in on it, though, despite it being so good. Are you in or out on the Cowboys?
I am in on the Cowboys.
You're in on the Cowboys. Why are you in on the Cowboys? You're actually going to trust Prescott?
In on the Cowboys, I think you don't have to trust them fully all the way. You just have to trust them to be the best in the NFC East. And looking as much as Daniel Jones looked pretty good this week, they already got got some losses they're gonna have to account for, and just going forward with a rookie QB is difficult. The Washington Redskins, they don't look very good, so you really just they only have to be better than the Eagles, who have had their ups and downs already this year. So
they got a bunch
of
injuries
too. I don't think they have to win, a crazy level of games. They just have to win more than, like I said, more than the other NFC East opponents, and then you're in the playoffs.
Are you expecting them to advance in a round in the playoffs, though, or do you think they're bounced immediately? Again, week
Probably
3, complete overreaction. Complete overreaction week 3 right now. It's impossible to read into everything we've seen so far. But I don't think that if they do get in, I will not be expecting them to advance. But that's 3 weeks in, large overreaction. Speaking of
media, that's what we do.
Speaking of actual huge concerns, though, the Rams are 3-0. As a Todd Gurley fantasy owner, I have no idea what's going on. I feel so far left into the dark on this story. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get, when he's going to be on the field, if he's even on the field, is he even healthy. I have no clue what's going on. Despite his struggles, though, they are still 3-0. Cooper Kupp is back, and Kupp looks great. I would say Goff and him got something good. Him and the Woods guy look pretty good as well. Defense looks strong. It's kind of hard again to be out on these guys, but the wild card of Todd Gurley, how much does that weigh into being in or out on the Rams? Can they win without him?
They already have been.
And
it's already happening.
And you think they can withstand that? I don't know if they could. I don't think you can hold on to that. I don't think you can keep this momentum going. I think at some point you're going to face a good enough team where you're going to need some effort out of Todd Gurley.
I don't think that you need a crazy Pro Bowl level running back. You just need a serviceable running back, and you'll be fine with the way that Goff's been playing. And Cooper's back. Cooper looks real good. I think that you don't need some sort of crazy 150-yard, 2-touchdown games for him to be winning. You just need him to just be serviceable, and that just might be where he's at now. So since last year, I don't know if there's an injury. There's not really. No one seems to really know. There was talk afterwards, like, hey, is he going to be on a snap count or anything? And the coach was like, no, this is what he's at. This is the plan from the coaching staff.
That is a very, very pricey, manageable running back right there.
Sure is.
Very, very, very expensive. But I have a hard time not being in on them. I think the rest of the team is too talented. And as a fantasy owner of Todd Gurley, I'm just praying and hoping for the best that, maybe you poke the bear a couple times this week that, maybe he'll wake up and be his old self again, or at least for a couple of games here. I feel like you see flashes of it, but I want to see a whole game of it before I'm really going to be all in on them. But I am in on them for now. It's a lukewarm in. Another lukewarm in. Moving on, Niners and Packers are the last two teams that are also 3-0. Jimmy G and Mr. Rogers here. Which quarterback do you like going forward? Out of the compared to those two, which one do you think is actually going to have some success?
I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers has already had success in his career. I think both of them are going to be successful.
Really? I have a hard time buying into this Packers thing. I don't think that team's that good. I think they again have not faced very, very good talent, and they are very streaky. This team. I think sometimes they have moments where they look great, but most of the time it's not great. When you rewatch the highlights on the Packers, those are like the only plays they have all game. They're a very tough team to watch play by play.
They've won at the Bears and versus the Vikings. I don't think the Broncos are that good, but compared to the other teams we've been talking about, I think those are the toughest opponents that we've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time trusting Chicago. I think that offense is just so miserable that you put up 10 points and you got a pretty good shot at beating Chicago, even though the defense is great. And the Vikings, I mean, I feel like this is the kind of the team that like always lets me down. Like this is like what's the team in NCAA, the March Madness tournament that like always disappoints you. Like that 12 seed, you always think that may come through and never does. That's kind of how I feel about Minnesota. Like I want them to be successful, and I'm kind of rooting for them.
Fool's gold.
I want them to be good. They should be good, and it always looks good on paper. But until they actually start winning and advancing through playoffs, I have a hard time being in on them. I'm probably more in on them than the Packers, though, but not by much. 3 weeks in, drastic overreaction. But you're picking the Packers to win that division.
I'm in. I'm in the Packers. I think they'll make the playoffs.
All in. I think Rodgers is going to struggle as the year goes on. I think you're going to ask him to do a little too much. I also think all the hype around Patrick Mahomes is going to make him think he needs to do, put on the Superman cape, and he'll start doing a little too much, more than he can handle. But we will see going forward. But I would say that's probably all the NFL stories we'll wrap up for today, unless you want to talk about some Daniel Jones drama. Maybe you want to have your little Duke.
Dimes.
You want to have a little Duke minute here? What did you see out of Daniel Jones? Is this a fluke, or is this some momentum we got here going forward? Is this guy for real?
He sure looked it. I think this is he played way above himself, because people were definitely right off the bat. I think we didn't touch on it too much, but we're definitely on like, wow, that was a surprise. I don't know why they drafted him so early. Probably could have drafted him later. Now he gets thrown in. And so I heard someone make some sort of comment. I think it was Kevin Clark from The Ringer say, now you're getting some people coming out of the woodwork saying that, they saw this coming, but he'd never had a stat line like this in college. So it's like, how would you possibly see this coming? Definitely some excitement. I think there was a little like wariness of, okay, we're going to get rid of Eli. What if this guy sucks? Then like real early in the year, it's like, oh, okay. But he leads the comeback. Everyone's all excited in New York, and I just like that as it was like starting to happen. And I was seeing the Danny Dimes nickname come through, and I threw it over to you, and you were just like, no, nope, I don't think so. And then within a half an hour, it was like he'd game-winning drive to win the game. Just like, oh, all right, well, can't do much about that. That's gonna stick.
I hate to read into just 1 week, but the kid looked good. He looked very comfortable and poised in the pocket. I was impressed by that. They're definitely brought some pressure. You got to think losing Saquon into the next couple of weeks, though, is going to be a huge loss. That was a massive safety blanket, arguably the top running back in the league right now. You have that guy to hand it off to just bail you out on some stressful situations. That's no longer there. I'm very curious to see. It's almost like a second tryout because he's going to be playing on a completely different team without Saquon going into the next couple of weeks. Uphill battle for sure, but hell of a start. I felt like they didn't make a mistake in drafting him. I just thought drafting him at that point it just didn't make sense.
Early.
The value of the pick didn't justify. Like you probably could have got him for less, but that takes a trading partner and that takes two to tango. And if you don't have anyone else to do it with, and you're really all in on a guy like they were,
you got to do it. You got to
pull the trigger. So we'll see where it goes. I do feel somewhat sympathetic for Eli, but I also am very excited to know that the Patriots can no longer lose to Eli anymore. Like that's done. That's never going to happen again. And I think I might sleep a little bit better at night just knowing that won't ever happen again. I don't know if you feel the same.
Good riddance. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Good riddance. Get him out of here.
But we'll keep you updated on that, though.
You got lucky a couple of times.
We'll keep you updated on that. I would love to have Eli watch, especially if Daniel Jones struggles.
Since you gave me the platform, are you prepared for the Duke Blue Devils to take over New York City?
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up the Duke Minute. Let's give you another update on the Carson King, which has turned out to be a great story right now. For those of you that didn't listen to last week's podcast.
Not true. Not exactly true. It's a roller coaster of a story.
Well, the story continues. Why don't you recap us on what has happened and what is going to happen?
So the story came out a week and a half ago. This is his name's Carson King. He's the guy that was holding up the sign, looking for some Bush Light replenishment. Got thousands of dollars. We talked about it last week. I think initially it was like 10,000. It had ratcheted up to 30. By that point, he had announced, "Hey, anything that you donate to me, I'm going to give to the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital." So really, really good charity. Does a lot for childhood cancer.
And he got the two companies
Venmo,
to match him, right?
Venmo comes out of the woodwork. Bush comes out of the woodwork. Says, whatever you make will match, and so that's like a big portion of it. So as of yesterday, he had made $1.14 million in 10 days, over $1 million, like by accident, pretty much by accident, right? Awesome story, right? Of course. Well, somebody from a reporter from the Des Moines Register gets a hold of him. They had combed through his Twitter. Well, he's 24 now. 8 years ago, in 2011, he tweeted two racially insensitive, racist, I don't know exactly how you want to describe it, things. And Bush Light is still going to donate the money, but they were going to make cans with his face on it. It said Carson King on it. They axed that. They were going to give him free Bush Light for a year. No more of that. Venmo's out, or like Venmo, they're still going to donate the money to the Children's Hospital, but like no more affiliation with this kid.
So his association is gone right now, and all the good deed credit is essentially going to the big market companies that nobody's really even going to bat an eye at. That is.
And looking at them as, oh, good, like they're separating themselves from this terrible person who, I mean, he put in it. It doesn't say exactly what it says. I haven't seen pictures of what the tweet was. When he heard that this was happening, he didn't even wait for the news outlets to put it out there. He's like, all right, I'm gonna send a letter out, kind of apologizing right from the beginning, and says that I made some social media posts with my friends that quoted and referenced the show Tosh.0. So you don't know what Tosh.0 is? It's Daniel Tosh, who is a stand-up comedian, has the show obviously Tosh.0, and definitely pushes the envelope on jokes and stuff. And I could see you quoting him, especially if you didn't realize it was a quote, and even if you did, being like, "Ooh, that's a little on the edge at best."
Well, this is the world we live in. I suppose all in all, I have sympathy for him, but the good deed was still accomplished here. A huge sum of money that didn't exist now exists and is going to a good cause. It's a shame the affiliation won't be there.
What's the level? Like, how much good do you have to do to offset some very tiny, small little bit of bad?
I don't think that exists anymore. I think it's like it's a one strike policy, man. And I don't think anything.
So don't you get kind of the feeling that it's like, what's the point of even doing good? Because if you do something good and you like, fame comes out, someone's gonna drag up something that you did in your past and just completely ruin it.
I think the lesson to take away here is there's no point in getting credit for anything anymore, because the second you get credit, somebody's gonna try and strip that away from you. You're better off just doing everything anonymously. But you can't do it to the scale without being, without gaining some attention. I think that's the hardest thing, is that you can accomplish a hell of a lot by gaining attention on social media from a whole bunch of strangers. But the second you do that, you're opening up a door that, they're going to start going through your closet. You just let everyone into your house, essentially. I know you had good intentions to begin with, but it's a risk that everybody's going to have to just live with. That's just how life is now. It's not fair.
Well, life's not fair, but I think that if you raise over $1 million, there's got to be some sort of line where, and what the negative thing you did, I think, also matters. If this isn't an arrestable offense, even.
No,
it's not like they found out that he did something that if 2 weeks ago before this happened, if you had been looking through and saw this guy and saw what he posted, and you called the police and said, "Police, this is happening. This happened on the internet 8 years ago," they would hang up on you and laugh in your face.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what? Actually, we could talk about. I wanted to talk about this maybe a couple weeks ago. The Dave Chappelle special. Again, these are jokes. These are. If you have any idea or a background on who this guy is, I think you should know going in what kind of comedy to expect. And then he's had a whole bunch of backlash off of all of that, which is like, I don't know if you guys are reading this like as if this is fact, as if he wrote this as like a newspaper statement. Like this is a stand-up comedy show. This is that. I don't know what we're getting all so outraged about right now. I think that it's just it's really almost inexcusable to be borderline inappropriate in any sort of shape or form if a bunch of people are going to see it. I think it's just something that comes with it. But
I think if you like, if you go to see a comedian or you listen to a comedian, I think part of it is that and this isn't for all comedians, but you're probably gonna feel a little uncomfortable, a little out there, probably a little made fun of. And if it doesn't happen to be in that special, like at some point it's gonna happen, and you're going along and it's like, oh, this is funny, and then it's like, oh, that's kind of making fun of something kind of close to me. Ooh, oh, didn't love that so much, but you know what? The rest of it was fun. So I think you just got to go along with it. And just because you're a little bit uncomfortable doesn't mean that no one else can enjoy it and that it has to be destroyed, not used ever again.
Now, I think also everything is such a case by case thing. I mean, it's easy to say that everyone's just too sensitive right now, but it also we've got a lot of bad people in the world too, doing a lot of bad things regularly, and I think we're starting to just highlight and see those things a little bit more. And I don't know if that just makes it feel like that's how everyone is now, and that's just we've gained no trust. Nobody gets any leadway, or there's just no leash anymore on anything. It's just everything seems like a one strike policy. But
so the last follow up to this story, that to go the next step. So it's just man, you just jump down the rabbit hole. So the reporter that combs through Carson King's Twitter to find the racist tweets from 8 years ago, well, people aren't super thrilled with him of going, hey, like, who does this help? Like, what's the best case scenario here? So then people go and look up this reporter's Twitter,
oh no,
and he's got a whole bunch of racist stuff.
Oh man.
And then I'm sure you could look into people that looked into him, and it's like, it's just a, here's an awesome, cool thing that worked out, that was spontaneous, accidental. He easily could have kept the money. He could have kept the money. He did not have to donate it. That was not part of this. He put right on the sign, this was for beer. He could have had beer for the next paid for forever. But he said, no, I'm going to do a good thing. And so it blew up. And now it's like he's this, like, and now it just feels like it's like he's this villain. And just I think it's just it's an unfortunate way that the story turned out.
I can't believe they. It's just like everyone's pulling a gun on one another right now. You know, it's like everyone's has a gun pointed at one another, and we're all just waiting to pull the trigger, man. This is wild. This goddamn internet,
yeah.
Man.
And well, like 8 years ago is not too long ago, but there's some other stuff that's been coming out with different things where it's been even longer ago, and it's getting judged by the 2019 kind of light, and it just makes me wonder sometimes if we're putting out content every week, and I feel like we're pretty good about we get right up to the line sometimes, we stay away from the edge, but just in 15, 20 years, if something happens and then it goes back and looks, and right now you say something and no one even bats an eyelash, and it's okay, move along. But then 20 years, like, you said that and you posted that, oh well, you're a terrible person. It's like, oh well, I don't know, like, no one's cared for 20 years.
In 20 years, 8 years is so long. There's nobody in this world that is the same person that they are 8 years ago. Like, that's views change, knowledge changes, experience change. stuff happens. So like I feel like it's. I know some people say like, oh, I matured, I grew up, I was a different person back then. To a certain degree, yeah, I think that can definitely happen. I think that happens with more people than you're ever going to get credit for. But I don't know. It's really hard to draw a line on any of this of what's a bad intention, what's a good intention, what's just a joke. I understand why it's offensive to certain people or to you or for this specific individual. That doesn't mean it needs to be offensive for everybody. But everyone just gets all grouped together. I don't know how you separate all of it. I have no answer for it. It's just the internet.
We
This is
need
the monster the internet has become.
we need fake block from the new Arrested Development privacy software, because I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's not going to be whether you did something that was offensive at some level. It's just going to be a matter of how well you can hide it.
Oh, yeah. It's just going to say, oh, you went to college and you have no offensive posts, and it doesn't look like you did anything public shaming wise. Okay, you're good. What was your GPA? Actually, you know what? It's not that relevant. As long as you didn't screw up, it should be okay. Is that just the future we're at right now?
Yeah. What's the most important?
I I just know you're not gonna. Nobody's going to be digging into my past and be like, hey, you really struggled in this class. You're no longer hired, or you can't do this anymore, or you're not going to be associated with this anymore. But if 8 years ago when I wrote a Facebook post or even on this podcast says something that was offensive or could have been taken out of context the wrong way to anything, I feel like that could do drastically more damage to me than anything else that actually might be in relation to the job.
It's an interesting incentive structure, and so I think that we've all learned a very valuable lesson today is don't donate to charity. Is that your lesson that you got? Damn it! That's the part they're gonna take. That's where they're gonna get me.
Yep, there it
Zach
goes.
Bishop says, "Don't give to charity."
I just think you can't
Oh,
look
man.
for.
Not a
I
lot.
think the worst thing you could do is be successful in the public eye. I think if you could be successful behind closed doors, that is the true dream. If you want to like live a healthy lifestyle, I don't think all this nothing good comes with the fame. Nothing. I don't think there's enough good things that come with the fame anymore. There's too many famous people right now. Does that even make sense? I feel like there's more famous people today than there's ever been before, just because of the amount of knowledge you can get on everybody.
Yeah, and because it's so easy to access people and it's so easy to promote yourself.
So with that, I really feel like that's almost like the average. Like everybody's famous. Like the interesting people are the ones that aren't. Yeah, that's the one that's gonna get me in trouble right there too. Nobody's ever gonna want to work with me. Oh, you don't want to work with famous people? Sorry. Yeah, work with some bunch of unestablished people then. Good luck.
Yeah, I heard they're the cool ones.
Yeah, smoking is cool, kids. It's healthy also. Oh man, I don't know. All right, let's. Do we have any happy stories today? Is this storm area? Is the Area 51 update anything good, or is this another downer?
This is just kind of I think it's what we expected. Yeah, pretty much it was not the millions of people that, as you might have imagined, agreed from the comfort of their home on a Facebook event that went viral. And yeah, it was like 40 people showed up. And yeah, as you might imagine, also with 40 people, they didn't storm an armed government compound.
Oh
so
man,
just wanted to make sure we had mentioned that at least once or twice of just, yep, that thing happened last week, and if you missed it, it's because not really anything happened.
yeah, I think the government can handle 40 people as well. I don't think that was an issue. Yeah, well, you know what?
Oh,
I
yeah,
can't believe that
definitely.
even became
Yeah,
a thing though.
Yeah, it was just one of those internet viral things that kind of spilled over into real life a little bit and probably just belonged on the internet.
Well, it's an opportunity like no other, a chance to make a mistake. Speaking of company opportunities, there's a company offering $1,300 for is this for anyone, like as many people as possible, or is this for one individual? Anyways, one individual to watch 13 Stephen King horror movies. Are these in sync, like one after another, back to back to back, or are we a little more reasonable of a schedule with this? What's the catch with this?
You do have to watch all 13 movies. You have to be hooked up to a heart rate monitor so they can see how scared you were during the scary scenes. Uh, you also have to it requires the winning candidate to write their feelings on each film as well. Um, yeah, that's pretty much the catch.
Are you going to sign up then? I don't. Are you a horror movie kind of guy?
I don't like horror movies, and this doesn't seem like enough money. And I'm just breaking this down, just like
Hourly?
dollars, like dollars and cents here. Of okay, 13 movies, so 2 hours a movie. I don't know specifically, so 26. Let's say it takes you an hour to do a write up with editing on each one. So you're looking at 36 hours, and then 1,300 divided by 36. My calculator will work. Equals that's $36 an hour. And then if you extrapolate that out, and you were to do this as your job, it's $75,000 a year. So for sure, not a bad job at all. It's probably above the median household income. So I'm not saying that no one should be interested in this, but as a contest for something, it doesn't seem like enough money. And I feel like I've been seeing more of these pop up, just kind of looking at the weird news for the pod, where it's like, hey, find your dream job in like doing this. Like if you win this contest, you have like you win the option to do this. But then if you look at it, it's like, well wait a minute. You're just like making your hiring process like more public and making it more of a like it's an award you won rather than just a job that you're doing. A job that's just a temporary job, so they don't have to pay you health care, they don't have to give you any sort of benefits at all. And just it's just been interesting of just I feel like I've been noticing this more and more of these uh awards or like these like offers. It's like, wait, this is just this isn't not like a trip to Disney World. This is this is a job opportunity. Did I switch over from like a sweepstakes website to Indeed? I didn't even know I was looking for a job.
What kind of feedback do you expect to get out of these people? Like, what do you think they're really trying to like? What research are they trying to gain out of this? Like, what scares people, or what's the biggest jump is?
I think it's a Utah-based company is celebrating the impending arrival of Halloween. So it's So I think they're just like just trying to get some attention for the company.
Oh well, they did that. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. It's the thing is, I don't think everyone really cares about. I don't think money is that as important to everybody. I think if they can get paid to do something they enjoy, like if they enjoy doing this, they don't really care what the amount is. They're like, I'm making money by doing this. I think that's the market. I think they're trying to, address and really get to work for them. Essentially, you're definitely right that they are absolutely taking advantage of it. But you know how many people are like, well, I can do this and make some money. That's okay. That's fine with me. I'm all right with that. It's definitely not for everybody, and it's clearly not forever. And you are clearly also being taken advantage of. I mean, 13 movies. That's not nothing. And maybe you only like 10 of those movies, and 3 of them are like that's real work. If you're doing something you don't enjoy anymore, or even if it's half of them.
But if you wanted to do this, why are you not just a writer? Like that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a writer to give reviews.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably really hard to get job applications these days once you start doing background research on their on their social media history. Maybe this is how you avoid all of that. Be like, oh no, they never worked for us. They were just part of this sweepstakes for.
Oh yeah, they won. Yeah, they won a sweepstakes.
They
didn't know.
We had no clue that their background and their Twitter said this 12 years ago and that they didn't like so and
Who would
so.
have thought going into this that someone that applied to watch 13 horror movies in a row was a little bit of a weirdo? And I say that with all like just like very fun. It's just like that's not my cup of tea. The same way I can see someone saying like, "Wait, so you just watch football all day on Sunday, every Sunday?" Like that's a little bit of a weirdo thing, but just a different style of it.
You didn't leave the house until Tuesday? What?
Like that's what you do all the time.
It's an interesting choice. Anyways, if anyone's looking for it, we got a website. What is the company if they want to go do this?
U.S. Dish.
U.S. Dish. Well, if that's something of interest to you, or if you know someone who's interested in it, maybe warn them a little beforehand of what we said about it. But it's an opportunity nonetheless. I will not be doing it though. I don't think I could watch that many horror movies. I kind of liked the Us and what's the other movie? Get Out. But I really don't want to do anything more than that. And those were just kind of good storyline scary movies, as well as they have like some scary parts, scary segments as well. I'll say, but I don't want this nothing but scary segments in it just to be purely scary and not really have much of a message of it. Like so there's a bunch of people in a bad situation, and this is what happens when you're in a bad situation, like worst case scenario. I don't know why so many people get so much out of that. I get the energy part of it, but I don't think being scared is a good feeling. Am I so crazy for thinking that?
I've had this kind. I think have we talked this on the pod before? Of just it doesn't make sense to me, but then I like adrenaline stuff, and other people are like, "Are you crazy? Why would you do that?" That's not a feeling I want. So I can see how that's a little confusing.
Yeah. Well, some people just want to show off how brave they are. And speaking of showing off, we have a construction worker operating a backhoe kind of challenge here. What kind of precision was this guy working on? We got a video of this?
There is a video. This is a whole challenge, which I had never heard of before. I was just at the Biggie last weekend, which is it's basically a fair. It's a little bit different. Maybe a fair meets a home show convention, but you still have all your general fair stuff. You have your animals, you have your parades, you have all the fair food, your fried Oreos, giant meatballs, and so this kind of felt in with like people are probably going to fairs, and it was one of those. I've never heard of this. It's a backhoe challenge. This event goes on in Pennsylvania, and they have to do very technical maneuvers. So there's 3 events. The first challenge, the operators use the backhoes to remove at least 3 bouncy balls from atop traffic cones and then drop them in a small bucket. The second one involves spoons being attached to the backhoes to lift an egg from a sand mound and place it in a bale of hay without breaking it. And then the final challenge, they attach a bottle of wine to the bucket, which then operators then have to maneuver to fill 3 wine glasses.
Using the backhoe?
Using the backhoe for all of this. And you think of a backhoe. I mean, we all know what a backhoe looks like. It's like this big piece of machinery, and then it's used for digging ditches, I imagine, most of the time. And just say like, you just kind of whip that thing around, and you just you're thinking of like ka-chunk and like big moves and everything. But no, if you're really good at it, man, like can't even pour a bottle of wine with my hand every time.
I want to see these guys play the Toy Story claw game, like the
oh yeah.
I want to see them work the crane on that. I want to see what kind of precision. I want to see if that translates at all right now. This is impressive. I'll say that. Anyone who's able to operate that, what I'm calling just bulky, aggressive machinery, and I have never operated one. I just imagined it wouldn't really have that kind of sensitivity for precision, and that if you are that precise, that is mostly just expertise on your end, and not so much the machine doing anything to benefit you. I don't.
You gotta really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm impressed by it. So what kind of were there any prizes in this then? This was a fair challenge then?
It doesn't say that it was at a fair. I've just kind of been mentioning the fair. It just feels like something that you look through the list of okay, we're going. What do we want to do? Okay, the
Oh, that would be
circus.
cool.
I don't really know about the circus. Like a backhoe challenge. It's a backhoe challenge, and you just end up there. Rob DeLeo was the winner, but does not mention anything about how much if there was any sort of winnings.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to add the video to the website. If you're not familiar with the website, make sure you go check it out, lcalcb.com. Lots of good stuff on there. You can listen to old podcasts as well as learn a little bit about Zach and I on there. Check out Zach's Twitter, which is
Wicked Z-Man 24.
And lots of good stuff on there. Get up to date on what Zach's got going on in his life and what kind of film and TV he's currently watching. But right now it's for Zach's favorite time of the podcast, and that's game show time. Zach sets the record straight. Game show we play every week. Zach is going to tell me 3 Guinness World Records. 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false. Name of the game is for me to predict which is which. So let's figure out which one of these is false. Zach, without further ado, tell us the first Guinness World Record.
All right, first up. Man throws tortilla 54 feet 5 inches to break world record.
54 feet. All right.
A tortilla. All right. You know what a tortilla is?
Yeah, was it corn or flour? I really don't think that has so much relevance. I feel like it's an option you get at the restaurant, like corn or flour.
I was really hoping it was going to tell me right away, but it does not seem like it is telling me right off the bat.
Anyway, second
one. Second one. Let me make sure I get the number correct. 596 kite surfers break world record at Brazilian beach.
All right, the Brazilian part makes it feel like realistic.
We got tortilla.
They're all
throwers,
kite. Go ahead. What?
And then we got kite surfers. And then the last one. Michigan Company's 342-pound lint ball sets record.
Ugh.
That's a 342-pound lint ball.
If that's... Can we just say it's false so I don't have to imagine that actually existing? The kite surfers... I feel like you need a lot of space for kite surfing. So if you have that many kite surfers there, like that's got to be a huge area of beach that they're covering. I don't know if you could really ever get that kind of space. But also, tossing a tortilla 54 feet just seems like I don't know if there's a technique. Like you got to just straight be frisbee throwing it, right? You got to flick the wrist and point and just hope for the best.
Oh yeah.
That seems very unlikely as well. And then the limp ball seems possible and just overall disgusting. So I'm gonna say that one is true. So it's gonna be between the tortilla and. There's no way you threw a tortilla 54 feet. I'm gonna say the tortilla is false, and somehow they managed to get 596 kite surfers into the same area. What do we got? Am I right? Am I back on the hot streak?
What was your final answer?
The tortilla toss is false.
Wrong.
Damn.
I am on a hot streak.
Oh,
I cannot be stopped. I got your number, Will. I got it. I got it all figured out now.
All right, which one is true?
No, which one's false?
Or which one is false? So,
the false one is the lint one.
Oh.
The Michigan Company's 690-pound lint ball. 690 pounds.
That is unreal. That ruined the game because not only I just said that I didn't even want to talk about that one anymore. That's so much lint. That just seems awful. And then how did you get?
Yeah, Dryer Vent Wizard of Farmington Hills started collecting from its locations across the country earlier in the year. They were hoping to get it over 1,000, so they got it pretty close.
Where are they keeping this? This is like an entire house you just took over right now.
No, they packed it together.
All right, so that didn't take
And they
up like
set
an
it on,
entire room? Like how big was the
and then they set it on
ball?
fire.
They set it on fire. That seems dangerous. Anyways, there.
I'm gonna say it's about 5.5 feet tall by maybe maybe 6 feet wide, kind of spherical. So it's all packed together. I don't know how they moved it.
I don't think it wouldn't roll. Would it roll? You think
If
it would
you
roll?
packed it well enough, it would. But I think that requires some heavy machinery to maneuver that around. You're not really moving 690
All right.
690 pounds, even
Can-
if you're rolling it, unless it's
Do we
downhill.
do we have
I
a
don't know how you're
video?
stopping it.
Do we have a video of the tortilla toss? How the hell did somebody throw a tortilla 54 feet? It just seems like it wouldn't hang in the air like that. Like, am I-
This is another one from our one of our favorite recurring guests. It is David Rush. He's the guy that's broken over 100 Guinness World Records to promote STEM education. He makes an appearance pretty much, if not once a week, every other week.
he's fan favorite.
Yep. Throws it exactly like a frisbee.
Seriously? And a tortilla hangs like that? I just think it would be too weak.
It is for sure a flour tortilla.
Oh man, I would have guessed corn too. Corn would have been thicker if you. I wonder how soft it is. Is this like a super stale one that's like really hard, and then he's able to throw it?
No, no, this is definitely, you can tell it's definitely floppy, probably straight from the package.
That is impressive. I don't know why I'm so impressed by that. I feel like I'm pretty familiar with tortillas, and not once did I ever think like, yeah, I could throw this like 50 feet. It's just-
I would never be throwing around tortillas because tortillas are for eating and they're delicious. So why would I waste it by throwing it? That was my thought.
Anyways, that's Zach sets the record straight. We play that every week. I used to win sometimes. Apparently this is just the podcast where I don't win at all. I needed to have another podcast just so I can win something.
You were on a little bit of a hot streak for a little bit, but then I changed things up on you. So, and then we took a break, and I think you kind of forgot how the games played. So I think you're still rusty.
You know what? The other thing is I never look up any of this stuff. Like I'm really putting a lot. Me and the listeners are putting a lot of faith in Zach right now. There's no one fact checking any of this. For all I know, maybe I was right today, and I have no way of proving his accuracy. So maybe Zach is just
buy the Book of World Records and look it up.
Oh man, I feel like I'm being tested right now. All right, this is like a mind game that you're setting up for March already. It's you're planting the worm early, man. This seed is here.
Hey man, basketball pep rallies start in less than a month. So I mean, if you're not planning on it now, I mean you're already behind.
I can't wait for March. This is the year. All right, perfect bracket. One of us is gonna get it. But this has been a pretty fun podcast, I'll say. Let's go ahead and just wrap things up. I'm gonna start playing the outro music here. Anything else you want to add to the podcast out there? What are you watching these days? You said you're watching.
Watching Broad City, which is I got recommended to me a while ago. 5 seasons, just wrapped up. Late winter, early spring. It's about two 20-something girls that live in New York City. I don't even really know what to compare it to. It's a comedy. It's definitely funny. They definitely pushed the envelope. It was on Comedy Central. It was adapted from a web series that the two girls created. But yeah, definitely fun. But yeah, I'm not really sure even how what I would compare it to. I feel like comparing it to HBO's Girls is too easy because that's about girls that live in New York City. But just all the stuff that they run into.
I saw the pilot. I haven't seen anything else, and the pilot is probably the worst way to judge a show. So like I gotta get into
Especially
it more.
a comedy.
Yeah, comedy.
Yeah,
comedy
I'm not sure if
pilots
it's
are
for
hard.
you or not, but it's definitely probably worth a couple more. You know, they're only 22-minute episodes, so you watch 3 of them in an hour. You'll definitely get the gist of it, and it's like you could easily just say this is too weird for me because it's definitely an odd show, and the characters are kind of going for that. But I like the energy of it, and it's I'm going along with it.
Are those SNL spin-offs? Are those SNL girls?
No.
No, are they from any sketch comedy show? Because I feel like they're familiar. I feel like I've seen them in other comedy stuff, but maybe I haven't.
They've definitely. The show has been very well received and successful. And I know they started off doing their, like I said, their own web series that went into this. And having seen this the first time, if they were in something else, I wouldn't have connected it. I'll have to like see them now and be like, oh, that's one of the girls from Broad City. But they definitely have some high profile guests.
Oh, that's always fun. Cameos are the best. Actually, speaking of cameos, dude, can I just get a Breaking Bad trailer once a week forever? I don't even need the movie. Just give me a little taste of these trailers. Have been great, really well thought out. I'm all in on this Breaking Bad movie. It may be terrible, which would kind of make sense if they had just milked this entire thing, this whole franchise too far. But I'm in on the trailers. Are you enjoying those? I really liked them.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good movie. I don't think that they're gonna mess this up. And I love how the trailers really don't give you anything.
That's the perfect. As
I watched all of them, and I'm no closer to knowing what was gonna happen than before. And I feel like a lot of times once you see a trailer, you're like, all right, yeah, I got the general gist of how this movie's gonna go, and I feel comfortable. It's like with this, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if they're gonna like the whole movie is just gonna be the cops chasing Jesse, or if like in the first 10 minutes they catch Jesse, or if like the chase isn't really part of it at all.
It's gonna be a fun ride. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I can't wait for it. That's coming up soon. I think that's in a couple weeks.
October 11th.
But we'll be back next Wednesday. It'll be on Netflix, right?
On Netflix and select theaters.
Yeah, and we'll be back next Wednesday. Check out the website lcalcb.com.